Hello, hello. How are you? This is Craig Beck, the stop drinking expert, the original. Apparently, there's some young kid out there essentially just copying everything I say. Don't listen to him. He's far too young. You need gray hairs to get away with this. So welcome into the live stream, our weekly get together. Where we all support each other. It is, of course, the usual AMA, ask me anything. So ask away any questions you've got about alcohol, about sobriety, about anything, really. Just fire it up and I will do my best to give you a decent answer. Equally, have you got something to celebrate? Are you notching up a significant milestone today? Are you 3 months sober, 3 years sober, 30 years sober, whatever it is? You can get a round of applause from us all today. And that's fantastic. Also in today's live stream, I'm going to tell you something that happened to me at the weekend that quite frankly was better than sex. And it's all thanks to sobriety. I'll tell you about that. I'll tell you about my friend Les, who has liver disease because of his drinking, and something quite shocking I noticed about Les. And also I want to share with you a new free feature of the website that I think will be really useful if you are still at that point where you're questioning your drinking, whether you're not quite sure if you have a problem, you're not quite sure if you should stop or cut down, that sort of area. That will come up as well on the feed today. So let's do it.
Discover the world's most successful and respected online quit drinking program today.
I'd say really consider this because it's different. It's different to anything you can find out there.
Are you finally ready to take action? Your sober journey begins 11 a.m. Sunday. Reserve your space at my next free quit drinking webinar.
Don't miss it. Sunday, the next quit drinking webinar. Be there if you're worried about your drinking. Let's say hello to a few good people who are up and ready to go. Caesar is here. Good morning, Caesar. Ellie, good morning from St. Augustine, Florida, oldest U.S. city. I'm getting a history lesson here as well. Good to be sober this morning. Kathy A, good morning from the great state of Maine. K2, hello AMA friends. Craig, I'm 3.5 months sober, previously a heavy daily drinker, but I don't stress about alcohol much anymore. I am a fool to relax my mind in such close proximity. It's a question, not a statement. Am I a fool to relax my mind in such close proximity to the evil clown? We'll talk about that later, K2. Stay with us for that. Hi to Ronnie. Chris Bull is here, 16 months sober on the 1st of May, kicking the evil clowns, you know what. Good man, keep going. Caesar's in Peru. Norway Lynn is in St. Louis. Good morning. Victoria is here in Florida. Kobe Cat in East Texas. Nancy is here as well. Steve W. Rich is here. Oh, so many people. Leslie's here. Good to see you, Leslie. I remember we've been speaking for a while, haven't we, Leslie? We did a coaching session years ago, but it's great to see you still here. That's fantastic. All right. So what have I got to share with you this week? Would you believe I got breathalyzed this weekend? Which is crazy when you think about it. It was Easter weekend here, just gone. We celebrate here on the Orthodox weekend because it's a Greek-speaking country. So we went to a barbecue at the weekend at our friend's house. Bank holiday Sunday, Easter Sunday, heading home after the barbecue about 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and the cars were flashing me. They do that here in Cyprus to let you know there's a speed trap over the hill. So it's kind of all drivers together. Everyone flashes each other to say, hey, speed it. The cops are down the road. So I was going super slow. I mean, under the speed limit as I came over the brow of the hill, and this cop car was there. And I was thinking, well, they didn't get me because I'm doing really slow speed. Anyway, they step out into the road and flag me down. I'm like, what? I wind down the window. And they say, we're doing random breath tests for alcohol. How much have you had to drink, sir? I wish I'd been wearing one of my T-shirts, but I wasn't. I just smiled and I said, I don't drink at all. And he just went, like he didn't believe me. So he took out the machine, put the tube on it, and said, okay, breathe until I tell you to stop. And actually, here's the weird thing, right? I still felt quite nervous. Even though it was blatantly going to be zero, I was in a bit of a panic. I was thinking, I had a glass of that alcohol-free wine. Maybe they give me the wrong one. I was a little bit jittery. Obviously, it was straight zero. But I was just, I wonder how many people they caught that day. I wonder how much money they made catching people over the limit that day. But I just thought that was quite funny and quite enjoyable to be that smug, to do a breath test and know you're going to be straight zero. So that was quite good fun. Now, one of my friends was at the barbecue, a guy called Les. Les has liver disease from his drinking, famously likes a drink. And I just thought this was quite telling. He was telling me about it. He said, I have to go to the hospital soon and have a checkup because of the old liver problem. I went, okay. But he had a bottle of beer in his hand. And I said, look, are you really supposed to be drinking if you have this problem? He said, oh, no, of course not. He said, but the doctors have told me that I can have 1 or 2 beers every 2 or 3 days. I thought, okay, all right, fine. But I saw him have at least 6 when I was with him. So I just made me think, like, even with kind of a death sentence hanging over your head, it's not enough. It's not enough leverage for this guy, for the evil clown. So I just wanted to mention that because I want to say to you, all the times you've beaten yourself up because you couldn't do it, or you failed, or you fell off the wagon. Look, here's a guy who's been told, look, you're going to die if you don't stop doing this. And even that has not been enough to motivate him to stop drinking. Why? Because in his head, deep down, he believes that alcohol is a benefit. And he feels if he would stop drinking, his life would be less because of it. It is complete distortion. It is completely living inside the bubble of unreality, but quite shocking when you think about it. Keep your questions coming, by the way. I know I'm missing a few comments here while I'm rabbiting on, but I will get to you, I promise, and I'll give you a hello. Any questions you've got, just post them wherever you're watching, whether that's on Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitch, Facebook. We're all over the place. So lots of planes going past today. One thing I wanted to share with you is just a new little feature on the website that you might not have seen before. And this is especially good if you are still at the questioning stage of your drinking. If you're still thinking, do I have a problem? Should I cut down? Should I try and moderate? What should I do? And there is a free test now on the website. You don't have to put your email address in or anything like that. You can just do it. It is at stopdrinkingexpert.com/test. That's stopdrinkingexpert.com/test. So write that down and head over there after the stream just to show you it a little bit. Basically, you come here and you click on Start Test. It's pretty obvious. And you're going to have 10 questions to answer. And the first one is, how often do you have a drink containing alcohol? Obviously, if you answer monthly or less, then it's just going to tell you straight out, look, you don't have a drinking problem. But I'm guessing nobody really is going to click on anything like that. So let's say several per week. Then it's going to say, how many standard drinks containing alcohol do you have on a typical day when drinking? 5 or 6. How often do you have 6 or more drinks in one occasion? Daily. During the past year, how often have you found that you were not able to stop drinking once you'd started? Daily. During the past year, how often have you failed to do what is normally expected of you because of drinking? Daily, and so on and so on. All right. And at the end, it will give you an answer as to whether the system believes that you have crossed that line, whether you are moving from social drinking into problem drinking. And I do believe that once you cross that event horizon, there's no way back. There's no way. I know that sounds depressing, but it's not really. Once you get your mind solid around this, you'll understand that it's not. There's no way back to being a normal social drinker after that point. So it's there if you want it. stopdrinkingexpert.com/test. All right. So now it's over to you. What's on your mind? What's stressing you out? What's making you consider drinking? What's working well for you? How did you survive Easter and a few days off work? Let's say hello to a few more people here. Let's have a look. Judy is here. Hi, Judy. We've got Jay Oceans. Good morning from North Carolina. Thank you for your great coaching. You're welcome, my friend. El Ali. Hi, Craig. Nancy's going on 60 days sober. So how do you feel, Nancy? What have you noticed in the 60 days? When did the best benefits arrive? Was it in the first week or did they slowly arrive? Steve W. Must be Wednesday night already. I guess it is where you are. Norway Lynn is chalking up 100 days today. Well done, Norway. Tim, nearly 2 years sober. Thanks to you, Craig. Good man. Brad David, does alcohol cause loneliness? Lots of problem drinkers do their drinking alone. Yes, it causes loneliness, but which is bizarre, really, because a lot of people drink because they're lonely. And they're scared to stop drinking because they're scared of feeling alone. And they say, well, you know, if I stop drinking, how am I going to deal with the loneliness? Oblivious to the fact that the alcohol is actually causing the loneliness. Isn't that the same with, you know, all of the perceived benefits of alcohol? That it appears to give you a benefit, but then the problem you started with gets magnified as you come back around. It's like, you know, drinking to relax. You drink to relax, you drink, you feel relaxed, but now you've got a drug in your system that's going to use a lot of carrot and stick to make you feel stressed and anxious, so you drink again. So now you're more stressed than you were before. You have now created a cycle. And it's the same with loneliness. Because, look, here's the reality. I don't care where you live on planet Earth, unless you're in like Antarctica or something. But if you live in a village, a town, a city, or somewhere, there is an opportunity to be with other human beings relatively close. Yeah? There are night schools. There are language learning centers. There are hobbies and enthusiasts and all sorts of groups getting together on a daily basis. There are social clubs, there are coffee shops, there are chess clubs, there are board games. The list goes on and on. There are opportunities for you to be with other human beings all over the place. The problem is alcohol suggests that it is a solution, and it suggests that you drink on your own because it's better that way. You've got nobody keeping an eye on how much you're drinking. You've got nobody pouring your drinks. There's no embarrassment of asking for another drink when it seems like you shouldn't finish that one already. There's nobody questioning you. There's nobody to see just how much you're drinking. And that's why problem drinkers prefer to drink on their own, because they prefer to be in control of the bottle, of the measure, of the quantity. It's safer that way. There's no judgment. And so drinkers tend to default to being on their own, which is why they feel lonely, right? But then they have a choice: be sober and go and socialize and not be lonely, or stay at home on your own and drink. And more often than not, when you are firmly in the loop, you will choose alcohol, even if it gives you more of the thing you hate the most: loneliness, depression, anxiety, you name it. Alcohol is going to give you more of the thing you're trying to escape. Pamela, PA, is here. James Blue Tents, good morning from New York City. Tristan is in Bermuda, nice. Nancy, 6 a.m. here in Washington State. Philip Lane, good morning. Good afternoon. These meetings came around quick, don't they? Don't you think this year's flying by? It's gone crazy quick. Connor, I am here from Florida. Todd Parker, 2.5 years strong. Good man. Tim, I still seem to drink a lot of fluids, Craig, i.e. energy drinks, non-alcoholic beers. Any tips? I don't think that's a bad thing, Tim. I do as well. I think I'm always drinking water. And yet I went for a full medical check last year, and apparently I have quite a big kidney stone on my left kidney. It's about 3 centimeters. I mean, it's big. You know, when they told me that, I was like, oh my God, I want this removed immediately, because I do not want to even consider passing that bad boy, because that would be worse than childbirth, I'm sure. But apparently it's so big, there's very little chance of it moving. So, but they said to me, drink more water. I'm thinking, what, am I a fish now? So I don't think it's a bad thing, Tim. Just, I wouldn't overthink it. Victoria, do you think someday society will see alcohol in the same way as smoking? Yes, but not for a while, Victoria. I think we're between 15 and 20 years behind smoking in that regard. You know, smoking is now considered as an antisocial habit. And if you want to do it, you're going to go and stand outside on your own and do it. You're not welcome inside pretty much anywhere. There are even some towns that are considering banning smoking in the entire town. Nowhere will it be allowed. I don't know how they enforce that, but such is the group mindset now around cigarette smoking. It's so antisocial. Certainly in the UK, cigarette packets are not allowed to have anything on them at all. It's just got to have plain text on a grey background. They're served under the counter like dirty, seedy things, which I guess they are. So, smoking is no longer considered a habit or a social pleasantry. It's considered an addiction that is dirty and unpleasant. Whereas alcohol's nowhere near that yet. Alcohol is still allowed to be advertised on TV. Look at the Super Bowl halftime show. You will see beer commercials, vodka commercials everywhere. They're all lying without being challenged. They're all saying things like, drink our vodka and you're more elegant. Drink our beer and you're more fun. Drink our wine, you're more attractive. They are all lying with impunity. And that is a bizarre situation, Victoria, because alcohol is the only product on planet Earth where you can say anything you want about it and nothing happens. That doesn't happen with any other product. Imagine if I brought out a brand of car tires and I marketed them on the radio, on the TV, on social media and said, use Beck's car tires and you'll never, ever have an accident. It's impossible. They're accident proof. Firstly, my commercial wouldn't get anywhere near traditional media. It would be deemed factually incorrect. I would have to adjust it before it would get past the authorization process. But how quickly do I get sued? How quickly before someone dies and I get sued because they had my car tires on? Probably the same day I start advertising, right? And yet alcohol can make TV commercials that say, drink our beer and you're more attractive to the opposite sex. No evidence to this. In fact, evidence to the contrary, but they say it, nothing ever happens. And that's why I think we're about 15 to 20 years away from the actual mass media and the world waking up to the fact that we're peddling poison in a pretty bottle. So we're getting there, but very slowly. Facebook user. It always does this. Well, it doesn't always do it, but for a lot of people, it just makes you look hyper anonymous. Hi from Western Australia, whoever you are, thank you and welcome. Kelly, hi from New Jersey, I guess that is. 9 months alcohol free, using Unleashed from Alcohol course to lose weight after quitting drinking. Great, Kelly. If you're wondering what Unleashed from Alcohol is, if you go to the website, stopdrinkingexpert.com, and have a little nosy around, it's a secondary course. It's to be used after you quit drinking. It's not about quitting drinking. It's about understanding why you were drinking in the first place. What were you covering up with alcohol? That's what Unleashed from Alcohol is about. Stephen's in the UK. Hi, Stephen, and welcome. Sony is in Brisbane. My second live video. I'm staying up late because it was so worth it. Good man. I'm assuming you're a man. What time is it there? Robert Booth. Hey, Craig. Hope you're well. Welcome, Robert. JC in New Orleans. After failing rehab twice, I found your YouTube videos, and now I'm 4 years sober. Thank you so much. God bless. That's amazing, JC. And how much do they charge you at rehab? This is the thing about rehab that really winds me up. It's so expensive. It's like $2,000 a day, something like that. And all it really is enforced 12 steps with a bit of medication. It's just the 12 steps that they do at AA for free with some drugs in an expensive hospital ward. It just doesn't seem worth it. Is that the best they can do? To just go, oh, well, we'll take the AA method and do it in a nice hospital and charge $80,000. It's crazy. Leslie, 13 or more months, no drinking, but still wondering why. Every so often I drink the non-alcoholic, the same as the real stuff. I crave it. Why? Bored? Something to do? Well, the good thing is you're drinking the alcohol-free stuff. And as long as that doesn't trigger you to go back to the alcohol stuff, then don't beat yourself up too much. I enjoy a really cold alcohol-free beer. I was working in the garden in the sun all day on Monday, and I had an alcohol-free beer in the fridge, and it was beautiful, perfect. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. Sometimes, I mean, for me personally, I drink sparkling water 99% of the time. And sometimes I get really bored with it, and I just want something, but I don't want something sweet. I don't want fruit juice. I don't want Coca-Cola. I don't want Fanta. I don't want 7-Up or anything like that. I want something savory tasting. That's why generally tonic water is where I go, but alcohol-free beers hit the mark sometime as well. So don't beat yourself up too much about it, all right? But if you find that you're going through a crate of 6 beers a night, then it's a sign that you're substituting. If it's every now and again, don't worry about it. Really? I'm not sure what your name is because it's anonymized you, but I got breathalyzed twice over Easter. Me also smug. Isn't the best thing in the world when you get pulled over to be breathalyzed when you haven't had a drink in such a long time, and you know that they don't believe you, and you're blowing out that thing. This is great. But I can't, back when I was drinking, can't imagine how terrifying that is to be pulled over, to be tested for, DUI. That must be absolute. Brad, I remember a few years ago, you made a video saying you're learning Greek. Can you speak Greek? Όχι, δεν μιλάω ελληνικά. Είμαι Anglos. Ελληνικά είναι πάρα πολύ δύσκολο para μένα. No, basically I can't. I've tried so hard, but Greek is such a difficult language. It's so difficult. My brain just melts and it runs out my ears. I can't. It's so annoying. Greek is like they've deliberately tried to create a language as difficult as possible for anyone to learn. It's nonsensical. It's crazy. I kind of had a flip out moment when I thought I was doing quite well. And the teacher said, read this that she'd written on the board. And I read it and she went, no. I went, what do you mean, no? She said, well, when a word has more than 14 characters in it, we say it differently. I thought, oh, forget it. Just forget it. Stop bringing in rules to make it more difficult every time I think I'm getting it. So I can't, Brad, thank you for calling me out on it. But I am starting lessons again this week. I'm going to have another go because I am applying for my Cypriot citizenship this week to become a Cypriot so I can avoid the plague of Brexit and become a European again. CW, please. Craig, have you had anything to drink? Craig, would you like the short version or the long version? By the way, feel free to come along to Sunday's webinar. Yeah, I should have done that, shouldn't I? What are you doing Sunday? Bourneville, hello, Mr. Beck. Hello. Lex Spin, good morning. Hello. You should say, I'm not drinking. What about you, officers? Don't poke the wasp's nest. Nancy, I had one of those random dreams last night that I was drinking a huge glass of beer. Haven't had one of those in a while. In the dream, I suddenly realized what I was doing, of course. So crazy. Yeah, drinking dreams happen. Don't worry about it. As Nancy has just described, they get less and less. When you first quit drinking, you can have them almost every night, and they're so vivid. They're so tangible. It feels like it definitely happened. I definitely got drunk last night. And you sometimes come downstairs nervously looking to see evidence of your drinking, and you can't find it because it was just a drinking dream. But it feels so vivid and real. It's an absolute bitch. But then they slow down. And then, just like Nancy has described, every now and again, out of the blue, they'll just come along and catch you. And you'll think, whoa, where did that come from? The subconscious is a weird thing. Paul, live at last, sober and loving it in the UK. Excellent. Steve W. I kind of get your friend. This is a reference to Les, my friend, who's got liver damage, and yet he still carries on drinking. I was like you, very scared of the dull ache, but it wasn't that got me off it. I would ignore it while drinking and freak out while sober. Yeah. Alcohol's good at that. delaying the pain. But the problem is you get the pain plus interest. And eventually you get to the point where you've delayed the pain so much that you're just swamped by the problems that you've created. Elaine, welcome back, Elaine. Good to see you here. Hi, Craig. Great to be here again. Only 7 days sober due to a recent battle with the EC, but I will win the war. I know where I went wrong and working on those triggers. How did he get you, Elaine? What did he say to you that made sense in the moment, but in hindsight, you realize it was just another trick? Aldous, Big Al, Braundo, day 3, no booze. I'm feeling good. Great. One day at a time, and keep coming back to these meetings. El Ali, 10 days sober today. Excellent. I listen to you every day. You can't imagine how much you're helping me. Thank you. I'm so scared to fail, but so far I feel good. Greetings from Brighton, UK. Excellent. Look, don't be afraid. Don't give alcohol more power than it deserves, and that's very little. Just keep doing this one day at a time, all right? And keep coming to these meetings, keep watching the videos, and fall in love with being sober. And let's go back to that comment I just remembered. K2 had a point here earlier on, and I think these two are linked together. I'm 3.5 months sober. Previously a heavy daily drinker, but I don't stress about alcohol much anymore. Am I a fool to relax my mind in such close proximity to the evil clown? You're not a fool, K2, but there is a trapdoor around the 10 months to 14 months point. I don't know why it happens at this period, but in the 12 years that I've been doing this, there is a massive amount of people who come to me between 10 months and 14 months, and they say, I can't believe it, Craig. I was doing so well and I slipped. And I believe that is because they were focused on quitting drinking. And you might think, well, what's wrong with that? Nothing really. But I believe if you want long-term success, your focus should not be on quitting drinking, but loving sober, to be in a constant state of gratitude and appreciation for how sober feels. Because if you're doing that every day, and the way I do it, and I've talked about this many times, is my 421 journal. 5 a.m. every morning, I'm here in my office and I open this journal, I sit with a cup of coffee and I write down all the amazing things that are in my life because I'm sober. And so I'm constantly reminding myself, Craig, sober is awesome. Why would you want to go back? And I'm doing that every single day. That means that I'm never more than 24 hours from knowing where I am and why I'm here, right? Now, when you just concentrate on quitting drinking, when you get to be 1 year sober, now you're 365 days away from drinking. That pain, that misery is now way in the distance. And you've got your rose-tinted glasses on and you look back and you go, was it that bad? Did I really have a problem? And I quit so easily, so maybe I didn't. And then something will happen. Something innocent, like you'll be at a wedding for the first time and someone will put a glass of champagne in your hand and say, to toast the bride and groom. And you'll think, well, maybe it won't hurt. Maybe I can just toast the bride and groom. And the worst thing that can happen to you here is you do it and you don't like it. Why is that the worst thing? That might sound weird. You might be thinking, hey, because it gives you a false sense of security. If you're at that wedding and you've got that glass of champagne in your hand and you drink it and you go, oh, it tastes disgusting. You'll be so pleased. You'll think you're cured, and you'll go home thinking, I didn't even like the taste of it. I didn't even like, I'm cured. So maybe I can just have a drink just to be social now. Big trap door. You're about to fall down the rabbit hole big time, because it'll take you 2 or 3 drinks before you like it again. So K2, you're not a fool to relax your mind. But the best practice for long-term sobriety is not to think about when you quit drinking. It's to stay in the moment by moment, appreciating just how good sober feels. I hope that helps. Let me see, who have I missed here? If you're new here, by the way, if this is your first time, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you get a notification. Let's have a look. This is a good question. Leslie, if time to answer, Craig. Once in a while, the guilt pops into my head of people I've hurt from drinking. How do you deal with the guilt? It's difficult because, and the reason I hesitate is I can trot out a statement now that sounds very good and sounds very laudable. And you go, yeah, if I did that, I wouldn't have a problem. But it's easier said than done. I get that. And that, this is all this premise that if you want to be sad and live in the past, if you want to be scared, live in the future. The only time that has peace possible is in this moment. You have to find a way to forgive yourself. And you either can do that through therapy, like timeline therapy, or you can do it by having a conversation with the person you hurt and explaining to them how bad you feel about it, how sorry you are, why it happened, not to defend it, but just to explain, look, my head was not in a good place. And I now know with hindsight that I hurt you very badly, and I'm very sorry about that. Maybe they'll accept your apology. Maybe they won't, but you should feel better for at least doing it. If that's not possible, maybe the person you hurt died since then, or they're not contactable, or it would be just a bad idea to contact them again. Then write them a letter. Write them a letter and explain how sorry you are and how you didn't mean to do this, blah, blah, blah. And don't send it, burn it. But write the letter, put it in an envelope, address it, and then burn it. And then make that the point where you've said, all right, enough. I've made peace with it. It was bad. I'm sorry. I'm contrite. But now let's leave it. So you have to kind of make a point in your life where you say, enough. Enough beating myself up. I've served my time on that one. Paul Briggs. Paul the publican checking in. Good man, Paul. Nick is in Taiwan, 14 months sober. Excellent. What's the drinking like in Taiwan, Nick? Is it a big problem? Never really heard of whether there's issues with that there or not. I guess there is, because there is everywhere, but it's not one of those countries that you hear of, big alcohol problems. Connor O'Grady, first week, I need tips. Connor, first thing you need to do is book your place on Sunday's webinar. Go to the website, stopdrinkingexpert.com, sign up for the webinar, and we'll talk for about 45 minutes about how you get the right mindset to quit drinking. So it would take me 40 minutes to talk you through it now, and I would bore people to death. Go to the webinar. Nancy. So this is Nancy coming back to me. I was asking her about where she saw the benefits coming in. She's been sober for 60 days. Is that right, Nancy? And I was just wondering where she saw the good stuff arriving. So she's answering, definitely after the first 2 or 3 weeks, the new habits started to set in. Now that I've broken the cycle of coming home from work and reaching for wine, I no longer even want it. Fantastic. So I'm guessing that gives you much more time in the evening, much more energy. You're going to have to find other things to do, maybe hobbies that you let go, that sort of stuff. Philip, going off what you're saying, I probably don't have a drink problem, but I have a problem with drink. It's so bad for you, and what you say makes much sense. I feel justified. Okay. Yeah, so you're saying you hate alcohol. All right. Thank you. El Ali, you're so right. The day is so long when not drinking. So many things to do. Before I was tired at 5 p.m. Yeah. And that's a good thing and a bad thing, I say to people, when you quit drinking, you're going to get so much more time. And people go, yeah, wow, amazing, great. I'm so busy. I need a bit of time to myself. And I say, whoa, hang on. What are you going to do with all this time? Think about that. What are you going to do with all this time? Because if if it's just sitting on the sofa watching Netflix, at some point the evil clown's going to go, this is boring. I feel a bit lonely. Why don't you drink? So you've got to fill that time. Always replace the alcohol with something else. Never, ever leave a vacuum behind, because it will come and bite you on the ass eventually. Tristan, going on 3 weeks. Hasn't been easy, but the evil clown is talking to me nonstop, but I'm going strong. 3 weeks is a really important point, Tristan. You're now approaching the end of the kick, where the drug physically can hit you with a stick and try and make you feel uncomfortable so that you drink. At this point, the evil clown's getting really weak. So keep going. Mark Clark, howdy from Oklahoma. Bought your program. Been working it for the last week. Life is better. Good man, Mark. Keep going. Excuse me. Do it passionately. Become one of the sober disciples that are out there, because that's how you make this stick. It's by wearing your sobriety like a badge of honor. You know, being proud of it, not hiding it away, so that, you know, when people know that you're sober, they don't offer you drinks because they know you're sober. And if they do, it would be like offering a vegan a sausage. You'd be like, why are you offering me that? You know that I'm a vegan. Why are you trying to annoy me? Are you trying to offend me? When you're, you know, famously, proudly sober, it's the same thing. And it's a good place to be. Graham, I build model kits as a hobby, and it's helping with my drinking. Great. And I bet that's something you've always liked to do, Graham, but you let it go because you chose alcohol instead. Gina, it's 11:14 p.m. in Sydney. Far too late for me. 9:30, I'm going to bed these days. But then I do get up about 5 a.m. 4:45, I get up. Steve, I used to hate waiting for others to finish their drink. I ended up finding ways to cover having extra drinks. I'd go to the kitchen for a fresh round and scull 1 or 2 whilst getting them. Yeah, or topping up before you go out, knowing that the people in the bar are not going to be drinking at the same pace as you. So you'd get quite drunk even before you went out. It all sounds very familiar. I did it as well. Gina, we're not allowed alcohol commercials here in Sydney, Australia. You know what? Australia is kind of weird in a good way. But when I was there with my son, I took my son to go and watch the rugby league, and he wanted some beer. He wanted some beer. And I said, I'll get you some. I don't mind. When I was out going to the shops, I was looking for beer to get my son. And you can't find it anywhere. It's like it's in the UK. They have it in petrol stations. They have it in corner shops. They have it in supermarkets. They have it everywhere. It's a sea of alcohol. In Australia, I couldn't find alcohol anywhere. And it sounds strange, me going, you know, I can't find alcohol. And then they said you can only buy it in bottle shops. I went, oh, okay, fine, weird. So maybe there's not much of a problem with alcohol here in Australia then, because it's so strictly regulated. But Gina, you're going to tell me that that's not the case, aren't you? And that there's a huge problem. And the fact that it's not that readily available and they ban the commercial things like that doesn't mean there's not a huge drinking problem in Australia, because it is one of those countries that you think of. Now, when you say think of a country with a problem with alcohol, you're going to say Ireland, you're going to say Australia, you're going to probably say France, something like that. But it's a strange situation. Craig, I'm just a boring person without alcohol. I lose my sex drive, my personality. I don't. That's not. That's highly unlikely to be true, Craig. Alcohol doesn't make you an interesting person. Doesn't make you funny. Doesn't make you fun to be with. It makes you stupid. And it makes you so stupid that you're no longer aware of your inhibitions. You're no longer able to do a proper risk assessment on your environment. And so you take risks and you do things and you say things that haven't been through a very important filtering process. The chances are, if you believe this, then you have some issues with self-confidence and self-esteem. You're not boring. You're not a bad person. you have issues with self-confidence and self-esteem. And there are two ways to deal with that, Craig. You can drink alcohol to cover up the pain of feeling that absence in your life, of not feeling confident, not feeling that self-love and the self-esteem. Or you can do the painful thing that's much more beneficial of addressing the problem. When I got divorced, I'd been married for a long time. I met my ex-wife when I was like 18 years old. And before that, I went to an all-boys school. There were no girls in my school. So actually, up until my divorce, I'd had about a year's experience talking to girls, talking to women. I was useless at it. I could not talk to girls. And so when I got divorced, I had a huge problem. I was on my own, wanting to be in a relationship, wanting a partner in life, but with no knowledge of how to do it because I was scared. I was too afraid to talk to women. So what are my options here? I could drink and cover that up so I don't have to think about it. Where's that going to get me? That's going to get me into a very lonely, desperate, horrible place, isn't it? So I chose not to do that. I chose to work on my self-confidence and my self-esteem. And I went on lots of training courses. I did lots of really intensive self-confidence training where I would stand up in public. I did stuff like standing up on a soapbox in the middle of London, just preaching, not about religion, but just preaching about anything, just to get over that self-consciousness, that awareness that people are looking at me. I did some crazy stuff. I walked around talking to hundreds of people in London, just going up to strangers, asking them questions, making conversation, commenting on what they're wearing, complimenting them, trying to make them smile, trying to make them laugh. And I did this for weekends at a time. I would go and do 20 hours of just talking to strangers, women and men, until I got to the point where I felt confident. I got to the point where I could do it without any fear, without any doubt. Now, I know I'm a bit weird. I'm a bit, in at the deep end. But when you say I'm a boring person and I don't have any sex drive, I don't have this and I don't have that when I'm not drinking, all that says to me is you have some work to do on yourself. But you got to stop drinking first. Stop drinking and get busy fixing those problems within yourself. That's very good advice. Take it. See you at the webinar on Sunday because that's step one. Connor, 6 months sober. Glad I stopped when I did. Good man. Facebook user. Doctors unfortunately aren't honest or blunt enough to say to people in the end stage of liver failure that you can't have any alcohol. I, however, do not have this problem in my job as a nurse. Yeah, it's true. And I think that's multifaceted. Sorry, I don't know your name, but I think doctors feel hypocritical. Doctors who drink, and there are a lot of doctors who drink. You would not believe the number of one-to-one coaching sessions I do with surgeons, consultants, specialists, doctors, anesthetists, nurses. That's a crazy stressful job. And there are a lot of doctors that drink. And I think some of them, they feel hypocritical sitting down with someone saying, you must not drink, it's bad for you, when they know they're going to go home and down a bottle of wine. So I think that's part of the reason. But also, human beings, we like the path of least resistance. We like the easy road. And so nobody wants hassle and argument and confrontation in your life. And so if you're sitting with someone who's addicted to alcohol and you're going to say to them, you're not allowed to drink alcohol anymore, they're not going to take it well. They're going to complain. They're going to be back at your door every 5 minutes. That it's going to create problems. And so whether it's ethical or not, I think it's just easier often for them to just say, try and cut down a bit. And then they leave the surgery and it's not their problem anymore. And it's a bit cynical, isn't it? But I do think that's the way it is. Jim, the legend that is Jim in New York, my favorite pharmacist. Good to have you here. Nootropic UFO nut, nootropics drinks with and mushroom powder mixes lift my mood and boost my immune system. I saw this on Dragon's Den, which is the UK version of Shark Tank. Really? Anyone else tried that? Sounds a bit like a gimmick. Does it really work? Elaine, just wondering why a person standing smoking on their doorstep at 8 a.m. is considered okay, but someone drinking a glass of whiskey at 8 a.m. on their doorstep is frowned upon. They're both addictive drugs. Yeah, but, and I'm absolutely not fighting in the corner of alcohol here. Smoking doesn't alter your mental state. Smoking doesn't change your personality. You can smoke and do brain surgery if you want. It doesn't make any difference. But drinking alcohol does change who you are as a person. So I think it's slightly different. But let's not forget, it's perfectly fine to drink a pint of whiskey at 8 a.m. in the morning if you're in an airport. It's one of those weird things, isn't it? One of the weird rules of alcohol. Alcohol for breakfast, bad. Alcoholic, unless you're in an airport, then perfectly fine. Lex, doesn't the free alcohol stuff contain a bit of alcohol? Yeah, most of it does. 0.5%, I think, is the maximum limit in Europe for you to call it alcohol free. So that's why I think it is a trigger for some people. But it is a tiny amount of alcohol. Don't forget, you're probably going to get a hit more than that if you have a dessert like tiramisu or something like that. So, alcohol in trace amounts is everywhere. So if you're super sensitive and easily triggered, then it's something you have to watch for. K2 says, I brew my own kombucha, fermented tea, natural probiotics, and thick texture like beer. Good stuff. Okay, interesting. Let's have a look. And another comment about alcohol-free. To stop drinking, I bought what I thought was alcohol-free beer. Turns out it has 0.5% alcohol in it. Do you think it's safe to drink, or should I give it a miss completely? The answer is it's different for everyone. For me, it makes no difference at all. I can drink alcohol-free stuff till the cows come home, and it doesn't make me crave alcohol. And I've always talked about it in that context, because everything I talk about is in from the viewpoint of my journey. But some people get very offended and say, Craig, how dare you talk about alcohol-free? Don't you know it's a massive trigger? So look, you just got to go carefully, all right? Like I said, if you're having the odd alcohol-free beer every now and again, I don't see that's a problem. If you're drinking 6 bottles of alcohol-free beer a night, or you can't go a few days without having one, then that's an indication that you're substituting, all right? Or if you drink alcohol-free and then the next day you find that you're really craving a drink and the evil clown's like really loud in your head, then perhaps it's not right for you. So you got to gauge it on how it's working for you and what's best for you, all right? Kobe Cat, have you seen the show Intervention? Most of the addicts end up in professional rehab center. Some make it. Are these expensive glorified AA meetings? You just touched on this. Yeah, I think so. Look, if you're a full-blown alcoholic, as in you're physically addicted to alcohol, then you need to be in an inpatient center purely because you need to be monitored by a medical professional. All right. So from that point of view, priceless. And they're saving your life. But as far as the process of becoming sober goes, once they've stabilized you, once they've got you through the craving, once they've got you through the withdrawal, without you having a grand mal seizure or something terrible, then the process of becoming sober from that point on is the same as AA. It's no different, really, perhaps with a bit of one-on-one therapy as well. So it's a bit depressing, because if you've tried AA and it didn't work for you for whatever reason, and then you think, right, that's it, I'm going to throw the kitchen sink at it, I'm going to throw all my savings at this, I'm going into rehab, and they hit you with the 12 steps, it's a bit like, what? I've tried this. I already know this isn't going to work for me. So it's, it's a double-edged sword, that one. Connor, stopping drinking finally let me deal with my mental health issues rather than drowning them. Exactly. What alcohol does is it suspends you in stasis. It keeps you in limbo. So you never deal with any of your problems. You never grow as a person. You just become this person who's stuck in time. And you can't deal with your other problems until you get alcohol out of your life. People say to me, Craig, I got so many problems. I got financial problems. I'm overweight. I smoke. I drink. What should I deal with first, or should I do it all at once? My answers are always quit drinking first. Quit drinking first, because then, and only then, you will have clarity to look at your other problems and be able to deal with them. What are the main languages in Cyprus? The official language of the Republic of Cyprus is Greek, although it's a slightly strange dialect of it. It's like, I'm trying to think, if you imagine in England, it would be like the Cornwall accent. It's a more villagey sort of sound to it. They speak Turkish in the north, but let's not talk about that, because that's the illegally occupied part of the island. Chris, hello, first time live on the Wednesday Club. I've read your book several times on day 7 of your course. Good man. Stopped drinking Easter Sunday, doing pretty well. I like to hear that. Very good. Massive kidney stone relates to too much red. I don't think so, because I'm pretty sure, I've not had massive amounts of red for about 12 years. And I'm pretty sure I've had an abdominal ultrasound in the last 10 years and there was no sign of a kidney stone. And yet it showed up last year. So he said it was in Cyprus. It's very common because it's a crazy hot country. It's 45 degrees. I have no idea what that is in Fahrenheit in the summer. So you're sweating constantly. So even as though you drink a lot of water, you're constantly sweating. And he said it's very common in Cyprus. Oh, thank you. Thank you, JR, for the super sticker. Very kind of you. What about having a sip here or there of my wife's beer? Why would you want to do that? And that implies you're missing it. And if you're missing it, then your programming is still out of kilter. It's like, I always say, if you want to know if what you're saying is correct or ridiculous, change the drug. So imagine this is not a quit drinking webinar live stream. We're here because we've all quit heroin. And you're saying, hey, Craig, what do you think about me taking a little bit of my wife's heroin every now and again? Can you see how ridiculous that sounds? So if you want to know if what you're saying makes sense, change the drug and it will become apparent very quickly. Clifford. Hi, Craig. Went to a housewarming party on Saturday around 10 p.m. People were walking around like zombies and talking BS. I thought I was like that. Now I'm 12 months in without the label poison. Yeah. It's funny because on Sunday, we went to this barbecue. My wife had three glasses of wine, which is a huge amount for her. She has one glass of wine maybe every 3 months, something like that. She's very lightweight drinker. But on Sunday, she had 3 glasses of wine. And she started talking to me, and I said, wow. I said, this is what you look like when you've had 3 glasses of wine. She went, why? What do you mean? I said, you're talking absolute shit. Everything you're saying is garbage. And it was really funny. Oh my God, Paul. Yeah. Paul says, question, have you seen the latest 007 movie? I was sickened by the amount of alcohol promotion in it. Sober since February 2019, thanks to your course. Have you seen the amount of vodka and whiskey that 007 drinks in a movie? There is no way he'd be able to do any of that running around. He's downing like a quarter bottle of vodka before he goes out. He's blatantly an alcoholic. Yeah. Turning Tree, hello, Craig, and power to all those on the sober path. Thank you very much. Jan, been sober for 3 years now. I have an interesting observation to share. Like Craig said, don't think about quitting for a while. Think about the whole life without. Exactly. And know that if you are drinking a bottle of wine a day, your life is going to be about 8-9 years shorter than it should be. You're basically selling your life. Drink 2 bottles of wine a day, you're decades. Your life's going to be reduced by decades. All right, we're going to wrap up soon because we're nudging on an hour here. Sorry if I missed your question. Let's see if we've got any real killer questions here. Let's have a look. Ashley, I'm coming up on 2 months and I love it. I do miss that buzz though, and I struggle with that sometimes. I have this thought at the back of my head that I know I'm going to want to get drunk sometime soon, just to lose it completely, at least for one night, which we know doesn't happen. And that scares me. Yeah, no, I get you. So you need a plan. You need something else that is exhilarating and out of the norm, that you feel you're a little bit out of control. You need something there that you can go to. I don't know what it would be. It could be something that you have standing by that you can pull the trigger on when you need it. Something that gets the adrenaline going. Something extreme, but just have something in there that doesn't involve alcohol, that allows you to release a little bit. Do something that scares you, really scares you, as an alternative, and schedule it into your diary. Chris Nolan, what program did he buy? Chris, I'm guessing he bought the My Stop Drinking Expert program. The only way in is to attend the webinar on Sunday. You can't go to the website and just start. But I'm a little bit fussy about who comes in, because I only really want people to do the course if they're willing to commit to do it. I don't want people to kind of dabble. I like passion and commitment. And so you have to attend the webinar if you're interested in doing the course. It's on Sunday. Michael, you speak lots of facts. Thank you. Let's have a look. Oh, good suggestion. Apple juice 50-50 with soda is delicious. Good suggestion. Sober disciples. I love that, says Ronnie. That's what you are, sober disciples. You watch. There's this kid on YouTube. I say kid, he's probably late 20s. He just rips off everything I say. People keep emailing me saying, have you heard this guy? He's talking about smokeaholics and the evil clown and all this stuff. And they say, you know, imitation is flattery and all that sort of stuff. It's still a little bit annoying. Let's have a look, see if we're missing any here. Angela, welcome from Australia. Martin says, I've helped 27 clients to quit through hypnotherapy, but they all get your book. Good. I didn't know you were a hypnotherapist, Martin. I think hypnotherapy is a really valuable tool. But I think with alcohol, you do need some extra tools to go on top of it. I don't know many people, and I'd say less than 10% of people, I think, can quit entirely with hypnosis. But it's a powerful tool in the box for sure. Okay. I'm going to look for my last question. Who am I going to give the last question to? Vivian, how do you find the courage and strength to just start? It's not courage, Vivian. I think you just reach the point where you say, I've had enough. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of feeling like this. I'm sick of letting myself down. I'm sick of lying to myself. I'm sick of letting my family down. I'm sick of the money I'm spending on it. You just get sick of it. You just say, enough. And you start to realize that the negatives are far outweighing the positives now. Alcohol's making you miserable. And the benefits are so small in that mix that it just starts to annoy you. And you get to the point where you say, I've just had enough. And if you're at that point, Vivian, then attend the webinar and get started. It's on Sunday. And I will give you the last question for today. So thank you very much for being with me. You're all superstars for turning up. I think it's great commitment on your part to be here every week. I'm very proud of you. You are my sober disciples. Have an amazing rest of the week. There will be another video tomorrow. And if you're coming to the webinar, I will see you on Sunday. Thanks a lot.